no real kung fu was ever displayed whatsoever. What up, world? Your hosted coach Tsunami back with another one. And today I want to talk a little bit about Wing Chun mastery and what direction you should be focused on, or what you should be focused on in your school and the art, in order to get some of the things that you're looking for out of it, right? So I know a lot of people are in love with Wing Chun Kung Fu out there in the world, some that are proud to say it and some that are afraid to say it because of the bad taste it has all over the internet, and all the bad representation, I would say, that is out there for it, right? So if you are someone within that realm who loves Wing Chun deep down inside and really wants to learn how to use it, how to really get, to not look like those guys on the internet and get your butt handed to you, well, you got to start with understanding the art in its totality, right? And I think one of the easiest ways and the most profound ways, right, is learning your school's first form, right? For Wing Chun Science, the school that I represent, that I'm a part of, that I'm an instructor in, that's what's been pushed to me since day one. Study the first form, practice it every single day, over and over. Even to this day, 13 years later, I'm still doing the first form. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like to understand Wing Chun and all the small nuances and lessons that you get from your Sifu when you're learning the first form is supposed to help you develop the idea of how to use it correctly. Of course, they're going to show it to you. They should be able to show it to you, how to time it correctly and when to use it, the right energy, the right explosion, the right mindset to get there into position and get the job done. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking just for Wing Chun Science. I can't say every school has this mindset, right? But I will say that every Wing Chun Kung Fu school out there has a first form, especially if they represent themselves as a Wing Chun Kung Fu school. They have their version of the first form. So if you are one of those individuals out there in the world that is studying Wing Chun Kung Fu at a Wing Chun Kung Fu school, and you feel like you're not really getting where you need to be, and you've been there for quite some time, how about take a step back and look at the first form that you've been studying? And do you actually know it in its totality? Do you know it? Do you have it memorized? Do you understand each hand character has a different energy output when you're performing it, right? Do you have your stance in a way that is not compromising your spine either too forward or too backward, right? You got some people that lean too much in their Wing Chun stance, and then you got people that slouch, right? You have to have that perfect medium and treat it where like you actively have your spine straight up and down, right? The energy within your legs has to be the most active, right? So I wouldn't say they're tense, but your toes are gripping the floor, right? Your knees and your feet and your ankles are where they're supposed to be. We can talk about it if we go into it a little deeper, triangles and 45-degree angles. How do you get to that position the way they teach it in your school, right? So for us, we start in a position of attention, and then we put the weight on our heels, flare the toes out first, and put the weight on the toes and flare the heels out. And for your God-given body, your heels should be at shoulder length, right? So at shoulder width apart, as we would say, even in a semi boxer stance, right? Your heels should be shoulder width apart, right? Not too wide, not too narrow either, right? You want to have good balance. So even in the first form, we keep that in mind too. You shouldn't feel like you're straining anything, right? But you are dropping your weight into your horse stance, into your Wing Chun horse stance, right? And that is one of the first parts of understanding how we think with our body in Wing Chun Science, right? That's like one of the first steps to understand what you're doing with your weight distribution, right? So these small details, like I'm saying in the first form, in your school or in our school, has to be priority in order for you to really call yourself a Wing Chunger, right? And I'm not getting at anybody when I say this. This is just totally my opinion. This is totally how I view it through my years of experience. And, someone who can say, I am proud to be a Wing Chunger. I take it very seriously. I understand the first form in its totality, and I'm still learning it more and more every single day. I still have questions that I ask my Sifu 13 years later to further get a deeper understanding of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, the energy output, the right angles. It has to be something that you constantly try to master piece by piece. And then you'll get to what us practitioners and enthusiasts and all the people that are proud to love Wing Chun and secretly love Wing Chun because, they know it has a bad internet taste, but they can see the value in it, right? This is for all those people. You really want to get to a level of understanding and be taken serious in that area. The first form is really where you need to put your focus, right? So once again, when you see our first form, we want to make sure that our energy output is distinct, right? Because this is what separates us from not just the way we do the first form, but to understand how we think when we go forward and actually applying this in combat, and how it continues to translate from the first form to application. Very important that we see those things, right? So right here in this first part of the first form, right, I'm trying to demonstrate that even though there is slow moving, then fast moving, this is a way we have to understand the art piece by piece, right? What I'm really trying to say is that one section of this first form could take you years to understand, not perform, to understand, right? And this is truly why when you want to be good at something, you can't rush it as far as really diving deep into it, right? You got to give it time so you can say to yourself, that's what they meant, right? And you're not going to have that aha moment on day one. You got to give yourself the opportunity to really absorb what you're doing, right? It's so important that you get a good coach that can break down each part of that first form, piece by piece, little golden nugget by golden nugget, the way my Sifu says. So you can take a little bit of that home and polish it. You work on the entire form, but you're always thinking about one piece at a time in order for you to get to the level of mastery that you desire, right? So no way in shape or form am I saying I'm some high-level Kung Fu master. I think Wing Chun is still helping me master myself, right? That would be the right way to express that, is that the Kung Fu should be something that you use to master yourself. Master your speed, right? Your speed. Master your reaction, right? Master your sensitivity, your finesse, right? I think too many of us are chasing someone else's capabilities, and it's really within, right? And you'll be surprised the level that you can reach when you're trying to just best yourself constantly over and over and over, right? All you think about is besting yourself. You may blow people's mind if you just kept that as the way you progress and then go out there and perform, right? Of course, with the right, again, coach and experience, right? Pressure testing your Kung Fu, sparring with your Kung Fu, and actually trying to use it the right way at the right time, the way your teacher is telling you, because of course he's performing it in front of you. He's not just telling you to do it. He can actually do it when someone is throwing a regular jab cross hook at him or has some kicks like a Muay Thai guy. How do you use your Kung Fu then, right? So you got to keep all that stuff in mind, but it's very possible, right? And we just have to really, like I said, maybe take a step back and question if we are really focusing more on the first form of your Wing Chun Kung Fu school that you're a part of. And Wing Chun Science, like I said, that is priority for all Wing Chungers that really want to call themselves Wing Chungers within our school, because the first form is like the go-to reference guide. It's how we make sense of everything that we do in combat. Now, yes, in the first form, we're stationary, we don't move. And in combat, there's one leg in front of the other, hands are up, right? But what you'll never catch us doing is this, even though that tradition has told us to stand like this when we first learned this, especially in our lineage. But later on, this kind of like sends a bad like signal that you're inexperienced, because realistically you need to have your hands in a in a right distance and position where you can cover for people that are a lot quicker. And I think a lot of Wing Chungers have the concept of that straight line theory taken way too far, right? They end up putting their hands like this and literally entering into a exchange of swinging fists with one hand directly in front and wondering why they're either getting pummeled straight down or from the sides. Right? You're expecting your straight line concept to just ram through the person like in a straight line. And I think that is the most stupidest way to use your Wing Chun Kung Fu, right? You are not using the idea of protecting your center line correctly. You're trying to force your way through like a tank. You're trying to push yourself through someone's punches with your freaking chain punches and wondering why you're getting hit as you're going in that straight line. It doesn't make any type of sense to me whatsoever. This is really the bad, inexperienced Wing Chun we see all over the internet, right? And they're trying to rely on their speed and catch every single punch and every single hook and every single kick until they realize that they're going to get tired of trying to catch every single thing, and they're taking shots because you can only catch so much, right? And that's why I say that you got to have a good coach that really breaks down the mindset too that needs to be taught in Wing Chun, right? The relaxation, the non-wasted energy mentally and physically when an altercation starts to happen. Do you have control over your emotions, right? Or is your body language expressing the exact way you're going to fight, right? You overreact to everything because you believe speed and your directness in Wing Chun beats everything. And you have to learn how to place those attributes of Wing Chun in the middle of combat, right? And I could talk about this forever, but we'll get into it again in future videos. But ultimately, what I'm getting at is that there's another level of depth in your understanding that you have to take it to, right? And position is everything in Wing Chun. Position is everything in fighting. Position is everything in combat, right? Without position, then the attributes that you are trying to use don't matter. Your speed, your power, your strength, it all goes out the window if you're not in the right position. And majority of what you see on the internet is Wing Chun guys going directly at the person with their hands like this, straight down the middle, and getting their butt whooped because that's not using constant position, right? In the fight, you're ever moving, right? You're always moving. So you have to constantly regain a new position, right? But keeping your center covered, right? You got all these people just rushing, protecting their center or rushing down, like trying to get to the center of the person that they're fighting, right? And they're just getting mollywopped all the way through. Bang, 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 boom, boom. And it just turns into them looking like a punching bag and eventually turns into them into getting into the fetal. And it's just really bad, right? No real Kung Fu was ever displayed whatsoever. It just looks like somebody who knows how to hold their hands and stand in a Wing Chun position and just rush forward, right? So when you get someone who, or a school that can break it down to you that you need to be in position as you're moving to pull these things off, then your world will open up. You'll look at Wing Chun Kung Fu from a totally different mindset, from a totally different perspective, and you might actually want to learn this for real. Get your level of mastery to another level and really take your skills and combat and fighting skills to another level. And I really believe that Wing Chun Science, the school that I am a part of and coach for, has put me and put us, the guys that study Wing Chun Kung Fu under us, in the position that they could never go wrong with this because we understand combat at its core, right? And that truly comes from taking piece by piece of movement and energy and breaking it down and learning how to now put it into action, into motion, right? Outside of patterns and formality. So I hope this helps somebody make a decision. Again, why Wing Chun Kung Fu should be the next art that you study, but also it helps someone understand that you can reach the levels that you can only dream of and imagine, but you have to really delve into your first form and really understand each piece of the hand characters and movements and their energy output the way your Sifu and coach wants you to learn this, right? Again, your first form, study, 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 practice, 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 3 times a day, 4 times a day if you have the opportunity. I know it takes a couple minutes to do it, so that's why I'm saying it. If you have more time than that, then you 10 times if you can. You get what I'm saying? So the more you do it, take your time, practice your breathing, practice the right posture and stance. This can really take you to the next level in your martial arts skills. So peace and love, everybody. It's your host and coach, Tsunami. Damn.